Hello students, I am going to continue with the same poem, that is the poem Keeping Quiet by Pablo Neruda. Okay, so in the last part we have learnt about the three stanzas. Okay, now I am starting with the next stanza of the poem. In this stanza what the poet is telling us, that is, fishermen in the cold sea would not harm wells, and the man gathering salt would look at his hurt hands. So here what the poet is telling us, or he wanted to tell us, that the fisherman, here the fisherman symbolizes the man's indiscriminate exploitation of nature for his vested interest. So the human beings are a greedy one. So we indiscriminately we are exploiting the nature. So because of our activities, the balance of the environment, nature is getting disturbed. The whales will be no longer on the verge of extinction. A sense of coexistence can go into the minds of people. So here the poet urges to the fisherman not to hunt the whales. If the fishermen will start to do this, then definitely the whales will be no longer on the verge of extinction. So we should understand this. The man gathering salt has injured his hands. He must take care of his hurt hands and should realize that his actions are self-destructive. Okay, so by doing that gathering of the salts, he is destructing self. Okay, so he creates the image of incessant suffering in his effort to add comforts to his life. He has paid no heed to the pain that caused him. So only because he wanted to add a comfort in his life, and so because of that only he is bearing all the sufferings. Okay, so he is not paying any attention towards his pain, whatever caused him. In the next stanza, those who prepare green wars, wars with gas, wars with fire, would put on clean clothes and walk about with their brothers in the shade doing nothing. Here the poet is giving us the detail about the green wars. Green wars means disturbing the environment. We are just disturbing the environment, our atmosphere. Then wars with poisonous gases. Wars with the gases and wars with fire are the different kinds of wars which he is telling us. It will be a victory where no survivors will be left to celebrate it. So wars are only the destructive. So there will be remain nothing on the earth. So if you are getting the victory, then there will be no any kind of meaning for that victory, because nobody will left to celebrate that win or that victory. So such a victory will be meaningless. They should put on clean clothes. So instead of engaging with the wars, we should put on the clean clothes and walked with their brothers under the trees, leisurely doing nothing. So instead of the wars, we should walk together hand in hand with the others, and we should relax under the shades of the trees, and we should do nothing. In the next stanza, what is saying? What I want should not be confused with total inactivity. Life is what it is about. I want no drug with death. If we were not so single-minded about keeping our lives moving, and for once could do nothing, perhaps a huge silence might interrupt this sadness of never understanding ourselves and of threatening ourselves with death. So, here, what the poet is giving us is telling us about the poet is advocating for the silence or the stillness. Stillness should not be confused with the total inactivity. Means here a poet wanted to make it clear that he is not telling us to be total inactive in our life, because total inactivity brings death. Total inactivity means what? You are dead. But the poet refuses to associate with the death. Thus, he is not advocating for death. Means we should be inactive, but we should not be complete inactive in our life. People pursue single-mindedly on keeping their lives moving. The poet suggests that it would be better if they give themselves rest for some time. What the poet is saying, that instead of continuous moving in our life, we should rest for some time. For once, they may do nothing. Okay, for in that moment, we should do nothing. A huge silence can do us a lot of good when we are disappointed at not understanding ourselves or threatening ourselves with death. In that moment, we should be keep quiet. We should not be think about our failures. The last stanza, the poet is telling us, perhaps the earth can teach us, as when everything seems dead and later proves to be alive. Now I will count up to 12 and you keep quiet and I will go. So here the poet is saying that the earth teaches us how fresh life springs from the remains of death. So whenever we are being rest, that time there will be a springs in our life. Okay, so life is always present under evident or elder stillness. So there is a life always in a silence. The poet means to achieve the positive approach and thinking by counting up 12. Keeping quiet brings peace and harmony to this uneasy and turbulent world. So this is what? A world with a turbulence. So we should bring the peace and harmony by keeping quiet. Only the earth remains alive when everything seems dead. So we should keep quiet and count up to 12 at that moment. So here we have completed the poem. Thank you.